Hello and welcome to another edition of Hockey at the Hall. This is your host, Anthony DiPaolo.
And I'm Sean Clancy. Hockey at the Hall, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. We're 3 weeks into the season. It's Friday, October 18, so we're 3 weeks into the season. Devils still haven't picked up a W yet, but we'll get into that a little bit later. First, I don't want to talk about that yet, Anthony. I'm in a good mood. I came in here, the sun's shining and everything. I was walking here. As I was walking here, on the sidewalk there was a little bird. And I don't know what he was just hanging out there. And I walked by him. And you know how normally a bird, when you walk by a bird, he'll like freak out and fly away?
Yeah.
I probably came within a foot or two of this bird. And he didn't move an inch. He just went about his business as I walked by him. He trusted me, Anthony. The bird trusted me. So it's a good, plus they got some big hoo-ha going on out there on campus. Everybody's playing hopscotch or something. So everybody's feeling a little bit friendly today. I like it. So I'm in a good mood. Now, before we get into it, one thing I gotta mention, because you know how every day of the year there's some ridiculous, obscure holiday that you would have never known about otherwise. You gotta look it up.
Right.
So I looked it up. I figure I'm gonna share this with the people of Hockey at the Hall every now and then. Today is National Mammography Day. So they say the best kind of detection is early detection, Anthony. So women, get out there, get your mammographs. Men too. I don't know. Maybe you like the ambiance. I don't know. Get out there. That's all right. So let's get into it, Anthony. How are you today? What do you got for us?
Only at Hockey in the Hall we can talk about mammograms. It's certainly a reason why I love coming up here every week, especially with you, Sean.
It's National Mammography Day, whatever. And also it was Chocolate Cake Day too or something. But I figured the mammographs are more interesting. It's a good cause.
At least more important health-wise.
Yeah, motivate people, get up there. Get out there, get everything checked out.
I was also going to say, considering with the birds, though, you obviously have not walked the streets of New York City often, whether it's the pigeons or the birds, they're always just so close. Like, they just brush up on your legs. You could kick them if you want, but...
Who's kicking birds?
I've never tried that, but... I don't know, some sick mind out there, but...
Well, because there's so many people in that city, those birds,
they're used to them.
They don't care. Those birds are savages up there. But this bird, though, he's a nice bird. It surprised me. It just made me feel warm inside that he trusted me. He just looked up at me as I was walking by, and he just went back to pecking the ground. Where I live, the birds are... You got seagulls. Where I live, down by the shore, and those seagulls are so annoying, Anthony. And it's the New Yorkers, it's the Bennies like you that come down there and they throw fries at the birds, and then there's a million seagulls.
Oh,
and
no,
then...
I never feed them. No, come on, son. I know you don't feed the birds like that. But anyway, let's just start maybe moving on to hockey now, because I think that's what our fans have come here for. So
we don't have fans.
Don't say
just
that.
kidding. No, we love the beautiful people, our fans. We appreciate you guys tuning into Hockey at the Hall. So we're gonna get into it. What do you got for us, Anthony?
Well, it was going to come up sometime or later in this show. As you said before, the New Jersey Devils are still the only team in the National Hockey League that does not have a win. And their latest game was yesterday, at least as of this recording, against the Ottawa Senators, and they lost 5-2.
It was a good game. We battled. For once, we were the team that gave up a lead early and then came back, instead of being always the team that gets the lead and then gives it up. But we're down 2-0, and
Sean almost dropped his tablet.
Devils are down 2-0. They tied the game up, and
no, they did not tie the game up.
They didn't tie the game up.
No, they got one goal. I believe it was. They cut it down to 2-1 on the 5-on-3 goal, and then the Senators got another goal.
We're in the process of coming back, and it didn't happen. Long story short, we lost again. What really scared me, though, about this game was what was it, like 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and we decided to pull the goalie. I realize we're down by 2 goals, but 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, you're going to pull the goalie, and you expect the other team's not going to get an empty net goal.
Well, at that point, though, Sean, you really have nothing to lose.
You do have something to lose. You can give up a goal right away, and now you're down by 3.
As opposed to what, though? Just playing more 5-on-5 hockey where the Devils' offense, they're coming back, but I think between the time they scored the second goal and almost tied, came within one of tying it, between then and when they pulled the goalie, they didn't put as much pressure as they did earlier in the third period. So I think it was right for DeBoer to get that extra attacker on and start getting more pressure in the Ottawa zone. Because at that point, they're just getting desperate. You might as well send an extra guy out there just to really crash the net and just hope you could slip one by. I mean, and one thing that really concerned me, though, was the play of Martin Brodeur. And I think a lot of fans are starting to realize that he's not the goaltender he once used to be. And I know the defense has been the easy scapegoat for most of the season, at least thus far, and for good reason. But tonight, I think this is just all on Marty. I think he let in a couple of weak goals. I think he's always had trouble on the wraparounds and the one-timers, and those were some of the goals he gave up. 2 of them were from the point, one of them by Carlson, and the other one, if I'm not mistaken, by Spezza, the one that Salvador may or may have not gotten a piece of. But Brodeur just did not have a good game, Sean. 4 goals on 23 shots, that is not good.
No, it wasn't a good game at all. The season so far, his statistics aren't looking very good. He's got a 3.4 goals against average. Save percentage is only an .865, so it's not been a very good start to the season for him. But it hasn't been that great for Schneider either. But to be honest, I do feel a little bit more comfortable with Schneider in the net these days. I mean, nothing against Marty. He's still, in my eyes, the greatest goaltender that's ever played the game.
No, absolutely.
But we might have to finally begin to admit that his time is really coming to an end. So Devils fans out there, if you're wondering, the Devils will be starting Corey Schneider in net against the Rangers tomorrow. And that's a game that we're going to, Anthony.
That is right.
Me and Anthony will be there. We'll be at the Ranger game.
Section 109, so if you want to come by for autographs, then by all means, go ahead.
We'll have Sharpies. We'll sign anything you want. It's permanent. We are going to pray that the Devils get a win. Hopefully the hockey gods will show us mercy, because imagine the Devils losing, Anthony, how miserable it's going to be walking out of that arena. Those Ranger fans are relentless.
Yeah, I can certainly attest to that. And it certainly would not be fun if they were to lose. But, I mean, looking on the bright side, though, as I usually like to do, you take a look at the standings, though, and you notice that the Devils have 3 points. So despite this 7-game debacle, we still managed to scrap 3 points. And most of the Metropolitan Division, which is a terrible name, I know, I believe at least 3 or 4 other teams have 4 points. So if everything goes well, 1 win. So if they win against the Rangers, that can literally propel them from 14th in the conference to 10th in the conference, and then from, I believe, 7th in the division to 4th. So as bad as this losing streak is, still early in the season, and I mean, I think it's a must-win against the Rangers, and it's certainly a winnable game.
Yeah, well, they've all been winnable games, but we haven't won any of them. This is bad, and it doesn't take a rocket surgeon to know that something on this team's got to change. Whether it be coaching, whatever it is. Listen, I like Peter DeBoer. I like the guy. But things are not getting done on the ice. And, you can make the case that he's, with the mismanagement of Adam Larson, Larson doesn't seem to be developing into the player that he should be.
He came into the Ottawa game -4.
And the defense has not been all that great. He's made some questionable moves in terms of the starting goalies so far, at least in my opinion. Pulling the goalie that early yesterday, I think, was a complete mistake. Line combinations are a mess. I still don't. Every game it's new. I can't keep track of it. So I don't know. Maybe a coaching change is the best thing that the Devils could do. And Scotty Stevens too, the defensive coach. You would think with Scotty Stevens at the helm of our defense that our guys would be hitting. And we would be just tougher to play against, tougher to score goals against. But our defense has been soft. We always get out hit. Volchenkov, we brought him in to be the big hitter, and he throws a hit every, 6 games? So something on this team has got to change. I don't know exactly what it is, but something's got to change. And I was saying that I think DeBoer might be going out soon, but I just read something earlier that Lou Lamoriello is backing DeBoer and is going to stick with him through this tough time as long as he can, and hopefully it improves. The one thing that gets to me is all the people that say it's only been 7 games. There's 75 games left. They've been doing this all season. When we lost the first 4, they'd be like, oh, it's fine. There's 78 games left. Oh, there's 76 games left. Now there's 75 games left.
Time is running out.
You can't say that all season. We're going to be, it's going to be December. They're going to be saying, oh, there's 48 games left. There's still plenty of time. That was the full regular season last year. Get to the Olympic break. There's 25 games left. April, 4 games left, Anthony. We could still turn the season around.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works. We got to turn the season around this game. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Because
said that
we're
the
going
Ranger
to the
was
game.
probably going to be the latest, especially the way that the Rangers have been playing kind of questionable. Yes, they got the shutout against the Washington Capitals. They beat them on Wednesday 2-0, but at the same time, the Rangers still, before that, they gave up 20 goals in their last 3 games. So if there's any team to beat, especially it's a rival game, the Devils have finally ended their trip. They're coming back home here in Jersey, and it is certainly a huge game for them. But I mean, and you're right, Sean, time is running out, but at the same time, just getting that first win will be huge for the team, and I think it might give them the momentum they need to resurrect their season as early as it may be.
Here's a little fun fact Friday for you. As bad as the Devils have been, our goal differential is still not as bad as that of the New York Rangers, who are a -14, and the Devils are only a -13.
That is also true.
All right, so what else you got for us, Anthony? What's going on? What was the big thing with Taylor Hall?
Taylor Hall has broken the Edmonton Oilers record, not the NHL record, but the Oilers record
The team
for
record.
fastest 2 goals scored by an individual. So Taylor Hall beat Gretzky's record, and he scored 2 goals in 8 seconds.
8 seconds. So here we go. Wayne Gretzky's record slowly starting to disappear, people. You know that article that they...
Until someone on the Oilers can score, or anybody in the NHL for that matter, can score 50 goals in 39 games, then I mean,
yeah, that's a little...
I think this was one of Gretzky's breakable records.
Yeah, definitely. What's the other one? The 92 goals in a season. That
was
going to be
the
touched.
same year he scored 50 and 39.
200 and something in
215 points in a season.
There you go. But you never know. Crosby now. What's the Penguins played 7 games so far, and he's got 14 points. So he's already way ahead of the pack. He's operating at 2 points.
160 points or 164.
Okay, well I'm just saying, throwing it
Yeah.
out there that Crosby's a savage, but we all know that. Hopefully, I'd love to see. I mean, as much as you have to hate on Sidney Crosby, I'd love for him to see him stay healthy this year, to see what he can really do, to see if he can keep up this pace. Because if he does something like score 160, what was it, 164?
164 points.
That would be because a big deal in the NHL now is when a player scores at a point per game pace. So Crosby's at 2 points per game. So look at him go.
I mean, I know there's a general hate among Crosby, but you really have to have respect for his skill and talent, because I mean, really, there is no other player like him right now. I mean, I think this is from last season. Who would have thought, outside of Pittsburgh, even inside of Pittsburgh, that Chris Kunitz was gonna be second on the team with goals last year, in a shortened season, got more than I believe he has in any other 82-game season, and he continues to do that. He continues to put the puck in the net. He still makes his teammates around him better. But and yes, you're right. I would like to see him get over 100 points, over 120 maybe, because even if it's not 160, I still think
I'm shooting for 150.
You think he can go up to 150?
I think he can, yeah. I really do.
So between Tomas Hertl being the highlight goal of the year and Sidney Crosby getting 150 points, you're really making some bold assumptions here. Not to mention...
they're not assumptions, they're projections.
Projections. Not to mention Scheifele being the Rookie of the Year. And speaking of Hertl, I think that's not going too well for you.
I'm going to look that up really quick, see how Scheifele's doing. Hold on, let me bring it up
for
here.
the Winnipeg Jets, who was the 6th loss for the New Jersey Devils.
Mark Scheifele is... Oh, no, wait 1 second. He's only got 2 points. That's it. Since that goal that he scored the first day of the season, he hasn't done anything since. He's got a goal and an assist. I think they must have taken him off the line with Evander Kane. I think last time I watched Jets game, I noticed he wasn't out there.
Speaking of Evander Kane, I mean, he is becoming a really good hockey player. And it was really evident against the Devils, as I mentioned before, in that that sixth game. Just watching him with his really bursting speed.
Yeah, he's got a good start to the season. He's got 3 goals, 7 games, 5 points total on the season. But the 2 leaders in points on the Winnipeg Jets are actually both defensemen. Tobias Enstrom, Dustin Byfuglien, they both have 6 assists, no goals, 6 points total.
Byfuglien has no goals?
Byfuglien does not have a goal, no.
Really? Well, that's going to change soon with that booming shot of his.
But Winnipeg is, of course, last in the Central Division. My predictions are not looking good, Anthony, at all. Ottawa, who I picked to win the President's Trophies, in 6th place out of 8. You got the Devils, who I picked to come in 3rd place. They're in 7th place out of 8. Colorado, who nobody expected, they're in 1st place. Meanwhile, Winnipeg's at the bottom of the standings. And you got Edmonton. I picked them to have something like a 98-point season, and they got 3 points. They're 1-6-1. I don't know what's going on over there in Edmonton.
I'm just more offended by the fact that right now their only win came against, guess it, the New Jersey Devils.
Yep. We handed the Edmonton Oilers their only win in 8 games.
But, and I guess talking about that game, though, we all started this by Taylor Hall with his 2 goals in 8 seconds. The New York Islanders finally rebounded and got a win. For a couple games, they were almost like the Devils, giving up late leads in the 3rd period.
Islanders are in much better position than the Devils are. They have 3 wins. That's 3 more than the Devils have. Only winless team in the National Hockey League. We're 3 weeks in, and the Devils are the only winless team in the National Hockey League. This is a dark and scary time. This is another reason that I say that the Devils might need a coaching change, because over the past, the beginning of this season and last season, which was only half a season, the Devils have gone on losing streaks like I've never seen before in New Jersey. There was the skid that we went on when Brodeur was injured last season. We went on that bad skid where we only won 1 game in a series of like 10 or 11 games or something. And then he came back and he hit 666, and then there was the curse and everything. We went on a 10-game losing streak there. Now we're opening up the season with a 7-game losing streak. I've never seen the Devils string together losses like they have this season, and it really, really worries me.
But the thing about the winning streaks, and it just makes me want to pound my head to a wall. They're not even playing bad. They're playing very well. They constantly outshoot teams. They just find ways to lose.
What did we put up against Ottawa yesterday?
2 goals on 42 shots.
42 shots the Devils fired on.
And I will tell you one thing, too. Well, actually, I guess I'll counter myself a little bit, though. One thing I do notice, including last season, with all these shots, a lot of them have been coming from the point. And I told you this before the game against Ottawa. The Devils need to get more shots from the slot. And they did just that. But as I think a lot of fans are saying that the Devils tend to make even backup goalies look like Vezina winners. This is one of the few games where the goalie actually really stood on his head, and that was Craig Anderson. And as you said before, and
he's a savage.
The fans, that you think he's going to be winning the Vezina.
I do. Craig Anderson, he's a top-notch goalie, and he proved it against New Jersey yesterday. He put up 40 saves. And if you haven't seen some of them, there was the backward save where he got caught out of the net, and then he knew the puck was in front of the net, so he just kind of slid in there with a backwards butterfly and made the save with his leg. And there was later with the wide-open net that Jaromir had. And Anderson came across with the paddle right there on the goal line, kept it out.
I think another very impressive one that was very underrated was when Jágr came in the zone, he cut across into the middle and tried going back opposite side to his glove, and Anderson was able to stay with it. I think that was a very underrated save, and Jágr easily could have scored on that one against any other goalie.
Yes. So, and now we got to deal with Henrik Lundqvist tomorrow. Obviously he's had his struggles. He has
that much confidence. It depends.
He's had his struggles, but of course, right before the Devils play him, he gets back into the swing of things, shutting out the Washington Capitals. So you never know. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but we'll see how it plays out.
Washington Capitals are also right above the Devils, so I think a lot of fans will say that the Capitals don't really attest to much, at least not right now. Just like last season, in the shortened season, having that slow start for them.
You say the word attest a lot. Do you ever notice that?
Yeah, well, you say we a lot, as if you're Lou Lamoriello himself. So I think that that gives us even ground there.
I'm part of the team. I'm in the stands. Speaking of which, got to mention this. The fans, if you haven't heard of it, they're doing a fan submission for the Devil's Goal song change. And you've got this look on your face, Anthony, like, oh, God, here he goes with the goal song again. But, yes, it's got to be mentioned. So the Devils are actually, thank God they're addressing the fans' complaints because it is a problem. So I'm happy that they're addressing our problems, but they're not going about it the proper way. The proper way would be to say, you know what, you're right, New Jersey Devil fans. We came in here and we stripped you of your tradition unfairly, unjustly, and we're going to restore it to you. But no, that's not what they did. They're allowing the fans to submit songs that they think should be the future Devil's Goal song. So if you go on the website, you could look for it. The link is there, and they have you fill out this little hoo-ha thing, and you could send in a song. And what they're going to do is over the next 3 Devils home games, starting against the Rangers, correct?
Yes.
Starting tomorrow against New York Rangers, they're going to be playing the top 3 most voted songs. And then I think from there, they're going to let the fans vote on those 3 songs, if I'm correct, which one they want to stick with. And then it's going to be the game. It's an early November game that they're going to unveil.
Fully implement
the song. Now, there was nothing. This is what I noticed. There was nothing in the Devils owners, whoever wrote that stupid letter that they posted, that said that you can't vote for the Gary Glitter Rock and Roll Part 2. That's the song that we've had for the past 20 years or so. There was nothing that said you can't vote for that, so that's what I voted for. And I think that's going to be what a lot of fans, the way the language is, like they kind of make you think that that's not an option.
But they're not going to pick it.
Oh no, they're not going to pick. Even if it got the most votes, they're not going to pick it. Just like the hybrid icing, I am sure that the players voted against the hybrid icing, but the NHL implemented it anyway. I'm sure about it. Because what the Devils came out and said that they were unanimous against the hybrid icing. And then I forget what other team. Might have been St. Louis Blues. It was another team or something that it was like only 3 players on the team voted for the hybrid icing or something. It was a huge majority against. So if it's like that with a couple teams, like the Devils were unanimous against it, I can't imagine what teams were like had such a differing opinion that were unanimous for it. So I think the NHL. They do these fan votes, but they do what they want anyway. It's just a way to give the fans, think the fans are in control. But we're not.
If you want to go closest to the tradition, I think I told you this, have Hey You by Pink Floyd. So at least you could try to get the Hey You Suck chant back going again.
That'd be nice.
Who knows?
I still hope the fans do it anyway. But, maybe this is a good thing because it's pretty much inevitable at this point that we're probably not going to get our song back, which sucks, but we're probably not. So at least they're letting us pick something that, we have a say in, that, we could start a chant around or sing along with or something, because God knows that Bon Jovi song was awful. I don't know who was sitting around.
And anything but Bon Jovi.
Anything.
Changing the song is one thing, but, funny thing though, I couldn't even recognize it. Like, I didn't even know it was Bon Jovi. I just heard
you
noise.
just heard it was
I think just because they're ready to start the chant, and I don't know, the music was drowned out. But anyway, although personally though, I think that the Devils have plenty to worry about other than a goal song. Like,
it's the goal song curse. No, that's our first priority, Anthony.
No,
just like the 666 curse last year. You know what? If this goal song thing, I think we're going to lose our next 3 games, and then we're going to get a win. It's going to be a 10-game losing streak, just like it was with the 666 curse.
Crazy. Okay. So,
all right. So,
do you have anything for Clancy's crease?
Hold on, I'm not ready for Clancy's. I do have something, but I'm not ready for it yet.
Okay.
Okay. There was something else I wanted to mention. What was it? I don't even remember what it was. The power rankings are out if you want to go on NHL.com and look at these ridiculous power rankings. But the Colorado Avalanche, when they wrote the power rankings,
Patrick Waugh behind the bench. Ever since I saw that first game, a lot of people were upset that he was shoving the glass. I love that. I love to see that kind of fiery passion from a coach. And I think a lot of Devils fans would agree. Like, why can't Pete DeBoer be like that?
Well, Pete DeBoer's shown his fiery passion. He got into it with John Tortorella, the other season, a couple seasons ago.
That one time.
I mean, that one time. What do you want him to bring the house down every game and light the benches on fire and break the glass and shoot the other players? What do you want him to do?
I think that's a little bit of a hyperbole, Sean. But go on.
What's a hyperbole?
It's an exaggeration.
I like that word, hyperbole.
Good vocabulary. I mean, you're going to be working with at WSOU, starting these broadcasts on the FM airwaves. So I think you should maybe expand your vocabulary a little bit, as I need to work on my
vocabulary's expanded.
Enunciation.
Look at you. You're messing up words, telling me how to speak. All right, so what's going on in your world, Anthony? How was your weekend?
Well, I'm just looking forward to the Devils games.
What? What are you laughing at? Am I funny? It's the word hyperbole. Say it. Say it to yourself. Say hyperbole and try not to laugh.
Okay, I'm just looking forward to the Ranger game, and hopefully we'll have plenty to laugh about if they can really beat the Rangers good at the Prudential Center. I'm really hoping they can pull off a win, but anyway...
You should be a politician. Because what did that have to do with my question? I asked you how your weekend was. Apparently you had a boring weekend.
No, I had a wonderful weekend.
What'd you do?
Watching a lot of hockey.
Of course.
I was actually catching up with a lot of guys at my high school because of the extended break. I was able to meet up with a lot of them, watch some soccer, some football games, even though our football program is god-awful.
That's good. Sounds good. I had a pretty good weekend, too. You see this gash there on my hand? I got a battle scar. You want to guess what that's from?
Oh, what is that from?
Apple picking. I went apple picking this weekend, and the best apples are at the tops of the trees, Anthony. I went in there. I climbed those trees like Batman, and I got the best apples, but I came away with a little battle scar there. So I'm going to have to put a little, what do you put on? Like
rubbing alcohol?
No, that stings. And that doesn't do anything, rubbing alcohol. You got to put peroxide.
There
You got to put if anybody out there has peroxide, I think this is getting infected.
I think I have a nice little kit in my dorm. I can give you that after we finish this show. So you want to go on over to Clancy's Crease yet?
This is definitely getting infected. Clancy's Crease, ladies and gentlemen. So, I don't know. Did I say it on Hockey at the Hall a couple weeks ago, my bold prediction about Ryan Miller?
I believe you did, how Ryan Miller was going to be traded to the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, I've been saying since the beginning of the season that the big goalie trades that are going to come about this year are going to be Ryan Miller and Brian Elliott, yes. So now the rumors are that Ryan Miller, and he may be on his way out because they're saying that Buffalo and Edmonton are in talks for a major trade, and obviously Edmonton is in strong need of a goaltender because we mentioned how bad Marty Brodeur's stats are. Devin Dubnyk's even worse in Edmonton. So
he says his goals against average to fans, they think he's a lacrosse goalie.
Right.
It's a joke because lacrosse is much more high scoring.
Thanks, we get it. Okay, so plus Buffalo's in a bit of a rebuilding stage. So what they're thinking is they might be shipping out Vanek or Miller or maybe even both to Edmonton for a return that might be centered around some young forwards. Maybe Nail Yakupov is the name that I've been hearing being thrown around. So who knows? But the only thing here, the problem is Ryan Miller has a modified no movement clause, which specifies 8 teams, Anthony, that he has no trade. He can't be traded to these teams. Among these 8 teams is the Edmonton Oilers. Now, I don't know exactly how long ago he might have signed this no movement modified specialization trade clause, but if I were him, I'd be willing to waive it because the Edmonton Oilers at this point really have nowhere to go but up. I think especially with Ryan Miller in net and these young forwards all coming into their primes over the next few years, I think Edmonton could be a very dangerous team. So
they have the young guns, but it also seems apparent not only are they lacking goaltending, but do you think they have the defense there too?
Well, goaltending is 1/3 of the defense. So maybe you have to start net. You got to start with Ryan Miller and build from goaltending out. And maybe that's what's going to get Edmonton back on track here. But that's the goaltending news I got for you, Anthony, is Ryan Miller, just as I predicted before the season started, may be on his way to Edmonton.
I think one of those teams include the Romanian Olympic team. And also one with no hair length restrictions and I believe 500-foot buffer zone from Milan Lucic.
Yeah, I read this satirical
Satirical, yes.
satirical
There you go.
article that was I just found it looking up information for Ryan Miller, and I thought it was an actual copy of his modified no movement clause, but it wasn't. It turned out to be some funny haha. Said that he among his no trade teams was the men's Romanian Olympic team. So a little bit. Look up the article.
And looks like that wraps up this edition of Hockey at the Hall. Sean and I will be at the Ranger game, so we'll get firsthand experience of how the Devils play as they continue to look for their first win. This has been your host, Anthony DiPaolo.
And I'm Sean Clancy.
And be sure to tune in next week.